all the different devices that are on that network. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what is on a network. For your exam, you're going to have to know some pretty specific terminologies, and not just for your tests, but for real life. Let's knock out some really specific terms. The first term that I want you guys to know is a term you're going to use throughout your entire career in IT, and that's the word host. Well, what exactly is a host? Anytime somebody says a host, like that's a host on a network or how many hosts you have, I'm going to skip down to the last sentence. It's generally any device with an IP address. Now, we haven't gotten to IP addresses yet, but later on in the course we will. And just remember for now, any device on a network that has an IP address is a host. That includes your desktop, your servers, your workstations, your client devices, your routers, your switch, your access point. If it's plugged into the network and it has an IP address as a host, if you're at home and you have a refrigerator that connects to Wi-Fi, or a thermostat, one of those Internet of Things devices, those are all considered hosts. In my house here, I have a ton of hosts. I have a cable box, I have TVs, I have a desktop, I have a server, I have switches, I have routers. You get the point. Just in a small house, you can have many hosts. Now just remember, hosts are basically devices or systems on a network that use, provide, or share resources and services, such as computers, servers, and network-enabled devices. So it's basically everything. All the devices I'm going to be talking about next are all considered hosts. Just keep that in mind. One host that you're going to probably connect into all the time at work is going to be a server. So a server is a computer or system that provides resources, data, services, or programs to other computers, known as clients over a network. So remember, a server is what serves up the data. For example, you may have a file server. Let's say at home right now, you take one of your computers and you put all your pictures on it, and then you want to share your pictures to all the users in your house. Then your computer would basically become a server. The server does exactly what it says it does. It serves up information. Now, this can be pictures, movies, music. It can be application. You even have device servers. You can even share things like a printer or a scanner. Those are also things that are shareable. Another device you have is what's called a workstation. Now, there's two terms that really confuses people. There's something called a workstation and something that is called a client machine. I'm going to try to clarify this. For now, a workstation is a high-performance computer designed for technical or scientific applications. Now, are you generally somebody in a workplace that works on a very high computing software? Maybe you're rendering videos. Maybe you're making architectural drawings. And these types of machines are super powerful. In fact, the machines that's recording this video is a workstation. It's a super powerful machine with a 4090 card. It has an i9 processor. It has 128 gigs of RAM. It's how we record all this 4K video. This machine that's actually recording this is actually a workstation. Now, workstations are basically really powerful computers that people, generally one person at a time, utilizes in an actual network. Another term is called a client machine or client devices. Client machine is a computer or device that basically accesses service or applications or resources by a server. So let's say you have a file server and it's sharing pictures. Let's say you have one of that in your house, and your sister or your brother or somebody like that wants to access the pictures. Well, then your machine is a server. Let's say you're hosting the pictures, and then your brother or sister, they have the client device or the client machine. So keep that in mind. You have the server and then you have the client. But what's a workstation? Well, a workstation is actually a client machine. It's just a really powerful client machine. In fact, many people interchange the words workstations and client machine. Keep that in mind. As you go through your IT career, don't be surprised when a lot of people say, well, we got 10 workstations. They don't actually mean 10 super powerful machines and a bunch of others that are not. They actually mean all the machines on the network. So you could technically interchange the term, but technically they have different meanings. Don't get that confused. Remember, a workstation is a really powerful client machine, basically. Also on a network, you're going to have a bunch of different networking devices. You see, those servers, those workstations, all of those machines, those clients, they all have to connect somehow. So we have to get devices that's going to allow them to connect. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to use things like routers, switches, and access points to do that. For example, here's a picture of a switch or an access point. If you're going to be connecting your devices wirelessly, you're going to use this access point. If you're going to connect them with a wire, you're going to utilize this switch. And that brings me to all my little gadgets we have here. So other networking devices is going to be, here is a Fios router. This comes from the Verizon Fios when you get internet here in the United States. This here is an access point, it's a router, and it's a switch. It's basically an all-in-one combo device. Here I have a firewall. So we know this is also a networking device. This is going to allow me to secure your network. This allows me to install it that way hackers can't break in. And I have a variety of other devices. Remember I told you guys about routers and switches? Well, I'm going to show you guys some interesting things here. First of all, it's crazy heavy. And I know this video is going to go a little long, but I want to show you guys something. So this is a home switch. This is a switch that you can buy for your house that you can connect computers to. This supports 5 machines that you can connect to, that you can connect your machines to. Nothing wrong with that. Now, in a big network where they have tons of machines transferring tons of data, they're not going to want that. They're going to want one of these. Yep. Believe it or not, these 2 devices, this one and this tiny one, provides the same exact service, except this is just a whole lot more powerful. They basically operate the same way, except this one, this big one, has a lot more options, such as enabling VLANs. It's more configurable. But technically, they provide the exact same thing. You saw this router that I showed you guys here. This is technically also a router. It's a firewall router. But then we have something like this. Oh my God. This probably weighs about 20 pounds. No joke. No joke. No joke. This is a Cisco Enterprise class router. Okay. So you have this white one we may have in our house, and then your enterprise is going to have one of these things in a rack. All right, let's put this back. Before I leave this video, I want to ask you guys a question. What does all these devices, what do you call all of these devices? This big switch, this sonic wall, firewall, this Verizon router, this little switch. Well, actually, technically not this little switch. Something odd about this one. What do you call this device, this device, this device, and of course that giant router? What do you call all of them? What do you call the desktop? What do you call my fridge in my house? Did you say the word host? And you're correct, because you know what all these devices have in common. They all have an IP address. The switch has an IP, this has an IP, this has an IP, that has an IP. The desktop has an IP address. Your laptop has IP address. Your TV has one. This one doesn't. This one actually does not have an IP address. This is just a really dumb device. It's just a layer 2 device, which we'll learn more about later. Okay, so remember for your exam before we leave, what's a host? A host is any machine on a network that has an IP address. A server basically serves up information. You can have file servers. You can have print servers. You can have database servers. Basically serving up whatever that first word is. If it's a file server, they serve files. Then, of course, you have a workstation. It's a really powerful client machine that accesses device on a server, but a workstation is more powerful and specifically made to do specific applications like rendering videos. And then you have all of these great networking gear. Remember these terms as we continue along.